Welcome to Student Connections, our students connecting with our community.
Hello and welcome to Student Connections. I'm your host, Maddy Blum, and today I have here with me my uncle, John Blum. Thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Today he's going to be talking about his NHL career and the struggles he's been through that he's overcome to be where he is today. So John, where did you grow up and what was your home rink?
Well, I grew up in Warren, Michigan, and our home rink was actually in Port Huron at McMorran Arena. The first 3 years of when I started playing hockey, 8, 9, and 10, we had to drive 45 minutes to McMorran Arena, so that was a long time ago.
So how did you get into hockey and how long have you been playing?
Well, it started with your grandfather, Jaju in Polish. He took me to play hockey one day, and I was like 8 at Iceland Arena, and I went into the rink and I started crying. I didn't want to go on the ice. And Jaju said, my dad, just go on this one time, and if you don't like it, you don't have to come back. So I liked it, and that's how I got started when I was 8.
Did you ever get the chance to play AAA when you were growing up?
Things were a lot different when I was growing up. There was like 2 classifications. There was house, which is rec league, and there was open hockey. There was no AA stuff like they got now, AAA. So like the first 5 years I played rec hockey, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then I went to open hockey, 13 and 14. And then after that I played high school for 3 years.
Do you think AAA hockey now is the same as it was back then?
Well, obviously there's more hockey players, more kids are playing hockey. It's big business. It's financially, it's crazy. What the parents are spending on equipment, it's priced a lot of the middle class, hardworking people out of hockey.
So when did you realize that you wanted to play in college, and what do you think your dream school was?
It was about 7th grade, and I always wanted to go to Michigan. I liked their football team. I liked everything about them. I went to the GLI, the Great Lakes Invitational, and that was my favorite team. And in about 7th grade, I started thinking about going to school there.
After making U of M your focus, how did you train and practice?
Well, he trained it, it never really called it, my dad always told me, if it's work, it's not fun. I just want to get better every day, and I worked really, really hard. I tried to outwork everybody every day. There was no secrets.
When did you get accepted into U of M, and when did you get your full ride scholarship?
Well, the coach helped me get in. It was called the preferred walk-on. They knew I was coming. They got all these commits now. I committed in 7th grade, so I was way ahead of all these other kids. And I took a chance. I had opportunities to go to Ferris State on a full ride. I could have gone to West Point, and your grandfather said, Johnny, if you want to go to U of M, we'll pay for your first year. So he paid for my first year. I walked on. I made the hockey team, played 6 games my freshman year. Halfway through my sophomore year, the coach calls me in at Christmas, and he said, Blummer, we're gonna give you pay your tuition. It was Christmas of '78, and he made me sign this sheet. People don't believe it. My tuition was $600 for a term, so it might as well have been $6 million. I signed it, drove home as fast as I could. It was Christmas break, and my mom and dad were really proud.
What was your experience playing at a D1 school?
Well, it's almost surreal once you play. I went to a game about a month ago, and I couldn't believe I played there. Like, the memories that came back to me, the rink, the smell, the band, where your grandma and grandma used to sit, where your father used to sit. Everything came back to me. If people ask me this, I have 4 years of a college career and 15 years of a pro career. If I could choose one and only one, I would choose my 4 years at Michigan ahead of my pro career.
When were you inducted in the U of M Hall of Fame?
Oh, I don't know the exact date. That was a pretty proud moment. I think I was coaching. I didn't make it to the Hall of Fame induction, but it must have been 10 years ago. That was really a cool thing to get inducted to.
So when did you find out that you were going to play in the NHL?
Oh, I really always wanted to play in the NHL. I can't lie to you. And junior year, after my junior year, I had a really good junior year, put up some numbers, and I had a chance to turn pro and skip my senior year of school. And your grandfather wanted me to go pro, but your grandmother, my mom, she said, you know, once you start something, finish it. So I ended up going back for my senior year, which worked out really well. I got my college degree, which I'm really proud of, a Bachelor's of Arts in Economics. And after that year, I had 3 teams interested in me. After my junior year, after my senior year, I had like 15 teams, so it was pretty cool.
So what NHL teams did you play for during what years?
Well, I signed with the Edmonton Oilers in '81. I played there 2.5 years. I only played a few games, and they were a real good hockey team. I got traded to the Boston Bruins, and that's where I kind of made my mark. I was there on and off. I was there a couple years, and I played for Washington 1 year. I played for the Red Wings at the end of my career. So I've got about 300 games in National Hockey League, enough for my pension, which will kick in when I want it to kick in. So that's pretty neat.
So you had the opportunity to be teammates with Wayne Gretzky and Ray Bourque. What could you tell me about that?
Well, you know, at the time, you know, you're all young, and Ray Bourque was one of the best defensemen of all time. Wayne Gretzky's one of the best players of all time. I was on his team, then I played against him. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to try to stop him. And we tried to figure things out, you know, and I get traded to Washington. And in Washington, I was with, the first pair was Rod Langway, Hall of Famer. Kevin Hatcher lives around here, 1,000 games. Second pair was Larry Murphy and Scott Stevens, a couple Hall of Famers. So I was really lucky. In Edmonton, I got to play with Paul Coffey. Boston, I got lucky to play with like 5 future Hall of Famers in the '80s, and that was pretty neat.
So how long were you playing in the NHL, and what did you do afterwards?
Well, I played about 15 years of pro hockey. At the end of my NHL career, I played a couple years in the minors. I was like Bull Durham, you know, helping the kids on the bus, the young defensemen. I loved it. I loved helping young defensemen. And then I pursued coaching for a long time. I was a pro coach at every level except the NHL. I was pro coach in lower minor leagues. I coached your dad when I was with the Falcons. I coached at the Palace with the Detroit Vipers. I was kind of a coaching vagabond, which I loved. But when you're young, you can get away with it. You got no, you know, you can travel and live out of a suitcase. I'm okay with all that.
So you got into a couple of struggles after playing in the pros. What could you tell me about that?
Well, what I could tell you about that is I needed some help. My drinking was out of control. And in April 27, 2006, the National Hockey League stepped in with a few of my friends and family, and I had an opportunity to go to Florida to go to treatment and rehab. And my sober date is April 27, 2006. So this April 27th, I'm going to have 13 years sober.
What made you want to go to rehab, and how did the NHL help you?
What made me want to go to rehab? Because I needed to go. Not that I wanted to go, but I needed help, and I couldn't do it myself. And the National Hockey League stepped in and basically paid for me to go to treatment in Florida, and I ended up staying there 10 years. You know.
So you say you're 13 years sober now. What has been your biggest motivation?
My biggest motivation is I just try to stay sober on a daily basis. It hasn't been that hard for me, to tell you the truth. After you figure out, you know, after you ask for help, I had a lot of help. Like I said, I go to AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. I have a good support system around me. I can be around alcohol and everything, but I'm abstinent from it. And sobriety, it's not all about not drinking. It's about a way of life. It's about being honest. It's about being reliable. It's like having peace and serenity in your life, and I have that on a daily basis. Pretty happy guy. So
you started coaching down in Florida after rehab. How do you think this motivated you to get back to the game of hockey?
Well, I took a year off. My therapist down in Florida said, you know, he wouldn't let me skate. He wouldn't let me talk about hockey. He said, part of getting sober is I had to learn humility. You know, I'm still not that humble, but more than I used to be. You know, when you live the life I lived, celebrity status is a drug in itself, and I was used to people waiting on me, getting away with whatever, and doing what I wanted to do at all times, and never basically getting into trouble. You know, because I was a pro hockey player. I dodged a lot of bullets. You know, I caught a few, but I dodged more than I caught.
So you were down there coaching Oliver Bezic, and you guys recently moved up here 2 years ago. What are you guys doing now?
Well, Ollie, I've been with his mom for 10 years. I've known Ollie since he was 7 years old, and we came up here on a few trips, a few summertime, you know, vacations, 4th of July at your house, and Ollie wanted to move to Detroit. He really wanted to go to De La Salle High School, which he's doing well. It's an all-boys Catholic school, and he's 10th in his grade with a 4.4 grade average. He played for the school his first year. Second year, he played AAA for Little Caesars, and he's a junior now, and he played for Honeybake U18, which I run the defense on that team.
So what is Ollie doing now, and how are you helping him to get to the next level?
Well, you know, Ollie wants to play college hockey. It's easy to say I want to do something, and Ollie's going to realize how much work it takes. Ask your father, ask me, ask anybody. Everybody wants to say they want to do something, but there's a lot of work that goes behind it. He's pursuing his dream like I did, and he was in Texas the last week. He got a chance to play a couple games in the North American Hockey League, which is his next step after this, to play either in the North American League, the USHL, and his end goal is to go to school and play hockey at a really good college.
So what would you say your biggest advice is to other athletes or just people in general that have problems with addiction?
What I would tell people that have problems with addiction is don't be afraid to ask for help. You can't do it alone. You'll never do it alone. Alcoholism and drug addiction is running rampant in the United States. It's an epidemic, and if you don't ask for help, there's three things that are going to happen. You're either going to get jailed up, you're going to get covered up, dead, or I got lucky. I chose a third option. I got sobered up, so it's cool.
Well, you have a very inspiring story, and good luck to Ollie in his future career. I'm really glad to have a role model like you in my life. Thank you for your time today. And if you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, reach out for help. Thank you for joining us today on M6, your hometown station.